Hey all, welcome back to Woodworking Tips with Matt. Today we're not going to be actually doing any woodworking, so I can go ahead and take my safety goggles off. That's better. Alright, well today we're going to talk about sandpaper. I know what you're thinking, sandpaper, well that's boring, you feel ripped off, and do not change the channel. You're going to get some good information today. Now, you got different kinds of sandpaper, everyone knows that, okay? You got your sandpaper that come like this, this is for putting on sanding pads. Everyone knows about that. You're familiar, okay? Doing the old Mr. Miyagi thing, wax on, wax off. Alright? Then, you have what I like to use, your Sandpaper Discs. Okay, these go on your orbital sander. Around here we use these 5-inch discs, and they're hook and loop, so they just attach nice like that. You want to line the holes up, of course. You put it on there like that, and you sand, right? Well, okay, that's great. So people put this on there, you start sanding your piece, and it looks great, and it's coming out nice and everything. And then you go and you put your stain on it. As soon as you put your stain on, you notice you got these little marks in there, all these little scratches and loops, and we call those hook and loop marks, okay? They're not necessarily hook and loop marks, but those are from the grit in your sandpaper, okay? Today, we're going to talk about how to not do that. That is a sure way for people to know what you're doing is not professional quality work. Okay, let's start with sandpaper grits. A grittier sandpaper is a lower number, okay? So, take for instance this right here, 80 grit. This right here is 120 grit, okay? So your 80 grit is a lot rougher than your 120 grit, okay? See where I'm getting with this? Right here you got 100 grit, that's right in the middle, right? Okay, so this rough and tough, medium, and then this is like a little sissy paper, okay? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start with the rough one, and that's gonna remove more wood, okay? The very important part, if you take one thing from this today, this is what I want you to take. You have to progress through your sandpaper grits, okay? I like to use 3 different stops, okay? 80, 100, and 120. Now here's what happens. When you sand with the 80 grit, it puts in marks from the sandpaper. It actually scratches the wood, okay? It might look, from a glance, it looks okay, but it's actually putting in its own scratches. So, that's where the 100 grit comes in. Now use the 100 grit, and it's going to take away the scratches that the 80 put in, but it's going to put in its own scratches. Okay, see where I'm going with this? That's where the 120 comes in. 120 come along, and it's going to take away the scratches from the 100, and it's going to put in its own scratches, but at that point, the 120 grit scratches are very minimal. So, what we learned here is it's important to progress from 80 grit to 100 grit to 120. Now that's going to vary depending on what you're doing. A lot of people are going to jump on my comments and be like, Matt, that's stupid. I'll sand all the way down to 4,000 grit. Well, fine. Go ahead. Sand down to 4,000 grit. I don't care. Waste your time. Okay? Other people are going to be like, well, why don't you just start with 120? Well, maybe it's a little too rough and you need something rough and tough like this 80 grit here, okay? I think you get where I'm going. You need to progress, okay? Don't skip one. Don't take too big of a jump down from one to the other. Start with your 80, go to your 100, go to your 120. That's what I do. Y'all need to experiment with what works for you. But do not take too big of a leap from one grit to the other, or you're going to get these sanding marks I'm talking about, okay? Just to help you all out, I'll tell you what. This is what I use, okay? I ordered these off Amazon. They're called Mirco Pads. Some of you all know what I'm talking about. Mirco, right? No, not that Mirco. This is Mirco, okay? Not America. Mirco, all right? You can find them on Amazon. They last a long time. I like them. They're pretty good. All right, well, one last thing. What I like to do before I put my stain on is you take a little bit of paint thinner, you rub the paint thinner on. Paint thinner will make your wood surface wet, and it's like a test. It's a simulated test to see what it would look like with stain. Except the paint thinner, obviously, will evaporate and dry up and disappear, but it'll let you see if you have them hook and loop marks in there from your sandpaper. That means you didn't spend enough time with one of your grits. Alright, thanks for watching. Stay tuned next week. We got more woodworking tips with Matt.